Good morning.
Hi.
That was a pretty smooth transition, wasn't it?
Wow,
tell
we
you
don't
what.
usually do it that well.
No, I'm usually just popping in to the seat
That was
because
really good.
because I
We should be more professional.
if only that were possible.
I know.
Welcome to Caffeinate Your Career. Today's topic: how to pivot into a new opportunity. I am your host, the career coach with the most, Jason Hopper. With me today, sensational Senior Director of Career Financial Services, my co-host, Miss Allison Harding.
Hi,
Allison,
everybody.
welcome back to Caffeinate Your Career.
Thank you.
Last week was fun.
So last week we had three of us being interviewed by Jason with the same questions for behavioral interviews. And it really was fun. And how many views have we had?
Well, I had like 113 people watched it, so I'd say it was pretty good. It's pretty successful. I can just make sure that we are live and it's moving through the paces now. Okay, so it's interesting, and I don't know if you have.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you like your job?
Yes. Of course I like my job. So if I didn't like my job, I wouldn't be working here.
Right.
Right? And I'm good enough at what I do. I would have an exit plan and I wouldn't be here. I love what I do. I love
There's a
working.
reason I asked that.
Yes. So why did you ask that question, Allison?
Because we were just talking about people pivot out of their current positions into other positions and reasons why. And we were looking at the statistics as to how many don't like their jobs. What is that number?
That was 85%.
85% in a survey done by Gallup in 2022?
Yeah, 2022. Gallup did a poll and found that 85% of people did not like what they do, which is...
That's a really high
it's
number.
So high.
I mean, that's a lot of people don't really like what they're doing. Another survey was conducted in 2024 of how many people liked their job, and that number was 20%. So they're pretty close. Over a couple of years, it may change a few digits, but
yeah, and that's like kind of. I think it's important to like what you do. I mean, you're at the job 8 hours a day or more, depending on your job.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't enjoy it, I mean, what are you doing there? Life's too short to be stuck in a job that you just hate.
It really is. And so that's why this topic of pivoting out of your current position into something else is really important for people today. And currently, we've had a lot of educators come to us wanting to get out of education.
Yeah.
And I'd say right now we probably have 5 or 6 people that we're working with, current teachers who are ready to move on to something else for various reasons. And we're going to talk a little bit about those reasons.
Yep. So the first part of this episode will be why people might want to get out of their current job. And then the next it will be how to do that and get out of their current job. So the first is career advancement. You want new challenges, new opportunities. Nobody wants to be stagnant in their job. Of course, the first one we just talked about is you just don't like working at your job. The next is you want to do something different to advance your career.
So if you don't like your job, recognize that and accept it. I mean, you don't have to stay there forever and ever. There are enough other opportunities out there and chances and places where you can go and do something else, but still enjoy something that you're doing. And those skills that you've learned on your current job, no matter what you're doing, you can take those with you. And so it doesn't have to be the same thing. It can be something totally different.
Yep. I see people in the chat. And so if y'all are in the chat, get active in the chat. I will be looking at the chat. The other reason people might want to change jobs, skills development. Learn something new. Again, it probably will help you in your career at a different point in time.
So I do have to say, at JFS for a long time, we didn't have a lot of career advancement because we were so small. And smaller companies, smaller organizations don't have a lot of advancement. And so you have to look at that in your happiness scale and say, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, knowing that I'm not going to have a higher level job because there just aren't any here. And if you're happy doing that, and you're happy with the people you're working with, and your job gives you satisfaction, and the pay is fine, stay there. You don't have to move up all the time. You can stay in a position for a long period of time and be really happy. So that career advancement is only for people who really feel that they need more or want more. Moving on to that skills development, those skills that you developed while you were there, no matter what they were, whether you were in education or data management or accounting, those are skills you can take with you.
Yeah.
And so that's what you have to show when you're interviewing and writing up a resume for a different job. What are those skills that I currently have that will fit into the position that I'm applying to?
Yeah, I think it's important to learn new things, and when you go on to your next great opportunity, you take whatever it is you've learned, you take that with you.
Right. So and I think I've told this story before. We had a client who worked at a large retailer for many, many years. And her customer base grew and grew and grew and grew and grew because her customer service was so good. And she wanted out of retail because, it's weekends, it's evenings, and she had a family. And so we built her resume around the fact that she based everything she did on customer service. And so when she was applying for customer service jobs, she was grabbed up and got a fabulous job. Just got promoted, in fact.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's been there, I think, a year. So those are the things that we can help you do. Look at what you're doing and say, oh my gosh, this would fit in over here. And this is how we'll build your resume out to reflect those strengths that you have that you may not even know. You think, oh my gosh, I do it every day. I know, but it really is a skill.
Yeah, it's important to tap into those transferable skills.
Yes.
We're looking at things. Other reasons that people might want to change different careers: culture fit. It's just maybe the company that you're looking at is more in line with your ideology in terms of work-life balance. One of the reasons I wanted to come and work here was because of really all the good things that we do here, and not only for behavioral health, but the food pantry. Now we have a community health center as well. So not only was there opportunity as our connected learning center. That's right. We just had our second ESL class graduate yesterday, which was
fabulous.
It was amazing to see these students. And one of them, I was just like, she'd only been here for like a year in Dallas and did not speak any English and is now in front of a group of people giving a speech. Incredible.
It was awesome to watch.
It was so cool.
These are people who, this is level 2 that they just finished. They finished level 1, level 2. And each level has a graduation. And we were at level 1 graduation, and we could understand what they were doing. This was just so exciting to watch and hear and listen to, and the pride in their faces when they got their certificates of completion I got
goosebumps just thinking about it. It was just so cool.
And they each had to give a speech, and it was really exciting. So,
another reason that you may want to switch careers is like you're looking for innovation. You want to be collaborative and be part of a team that's collaborative. Some people, maybe you're working in a job right now where you're just an individual contributor and you're not part of a team. What's one of the main reasons that a lot of people who have been or were working from home want to get back into an office kind of situation where they can see people and have some collaboration and teamwork.
It's interesting because we have all sorts of people come to JFS for help with careers. And some say, I only want a remote job. And when you ask why, they don't have an answer. It's just like, it's the same thing to say. Well, in 2021, 22, that was possible. There were probably almost all the jobs were remote because we weren't working in offices yet. We're all doing everything on Zoom and on Teams and all that through those modes. And now more of it, I'm not going to give a percentage because I don't know. I wish I had it. More of it is hybrid, like we are here. We work 3 days in the office, 2 days at home. You set a schedule with your supervisor, whatever days you want, and those are the days you're going to be. So most people here work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, people work from home. Sometimes you need to change that. I have a doctor's appointment on Tuesday. Let me work from home on Tuesday. I'll come in on Friday, whatever it is. But I find that collaboration when we're all together on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is so much stronger and so much more visible amongst all of us.
Also, too, people don't quite understand. They think that, hey, work from home, I could just
Do the laundry.
work whenever I want to. No, you're going to be working from whatever set hours until the end of. Like it's not like come and go as you want to, and that's a big misconception. Yeah, I get clients who like all the time say, "Oh, I need remote. I need completely remote." You might be unemployed for a minute because a lot of employers they have buildings, they have to pay rent on the building, they have to pay the bills on the building. Like they expect people to be in the building. They just do.
And also, again, the main reason you just said, it's collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
It's, sitting in a room talking about a challenge that may come up or a new project or a new idea you have. And when you're all sitting around talking about it, it's so much easier to get that workflow going and that energy going. Whereas on a Zoom call, yeah, that sounds good. I'll look into it. You get off the phone and you're doing something else.
Yeah, you're just connected a little bit. Yeah. Even though we're connected and we're on the Zoom.
People oftentimes don't like to hear this, but.
Well, that's. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like, Jason and Allison don't know it, okay, well, we've been doing this for a minute, and I'm telling you right now, most companies are moving into a hybrid situation. Mm-hmm. This is not 2020 anymore.
Yeah, we're physically moving our location about a half a mile from where we are now. And it's going to be a whole new build out and everything into this beautiful new building. With that being said, I have to say that our entire design of the department is changing.
Yeah.
Because we're not in the office all the time. So we don't need as many offices. There's going to be a lot more shared offices where you're going to be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and they're going to be here Thursday and Friday, so you're going to share an office. And so at first people are like, but then you think about it, why not?
Right.
It's a better usage of space. We don't need as many empty offices if nobody's going to be around on certain days.
Right. Well, it's to your point. I mean, we don't have any empty offices around here. Everything's we're moving because we outgrew our building. Our building.
There's our building is like a junkyard. It's really old. So
it's not a junkyard, Allison. It's just an older building.
It's a really older building.
You make it sound like there's trash.
There's not trash. It's clean and all.
That's what a junkyard is.
But it's a very old building. It used to be a tire center.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you can imagine when we moved in here, we really had no money. I mean, we were on a shoestring when we moved in here and in the rebuild, and so it was done very economically.
That's why if you've been
showing.
in the building, there's a ramp that goes down into our boardroom. That's why it used to be a tire center right here. It's not a junkyard though. It's just an old building.
It's an old building.
Reputation, it plays a big part in why somebody might want to get into a different career. It's one of the reasons I wanted to come and work here, but also too, I have clients okay, why do you want to work at McKesson? Mm-hmm. Right? Well, they do a lot of stuff in healthcare, and I'm a big advocate for healthcare. People have their reasons specifically why they want to go to specific spots, mm-hmm. and that is company reputation is one of them for sure.
Definitely, and everybody should like where they work, be proud of where they work. I work at ABC Company. They're such a good company to work for, and so if you don't like it, for whatever reason, maybe your values are different or you don't like the way they...
It's so interesting that you said, because I don't recommend when I talk to clients about how to write their headline that they write their headline like this because most people just have the default, which is the job title at whatever company, and that's boring as hell. So, but the way I wrote my headline is it says what it says, and then I have a line, and it says career coach and podcaster at Jewish Family Services Greater Dallas. And the reason that I have that like that, even though I don't recommend it to my clients they did do it, the reason I have it that way is I am working hard on not only building my brand, but tying my brand back to this organization because I love working here. And that's super important.
So, Jace made a really good point. Your LinkedIn brands you to whatever you put on that post on your site, on your profile.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do that, you have to really look at yourself and figure out who you are and what you want and the type of company you want to work for. So we're a nonprofit. We've been in nonprofit for a long time. Prior to this, I was in for-profit. Look at the two. I'd rather be in nonprofit than for-profit, even though I make more money in for-profit. So I made a choice, a life choice. And that's what people have to do. It's not just the job. It's the finances. It's the drive. It's the days in the office and the days the remote. I mean, it's all those things you need to look at where you are working currently. If you want to make a change, what do those new organizations do and how do they look?
You mentioned drive, and that's the other reason somebody might want to pivot into a different career is for geographical reasons. Maybe you want to, and I'll use my friend Amanda. Amanda was the attorney for Keller ISD for many, many years, and often would go down to see her sister in Austin and her nephew, right? And she just picked up and got a whole new job and is now director of Texas Board of Education in Austin. So geography plays a big point. And by the way, that's not what she had experience in as being a director of the Board of Education. She was an attorney. She completely pivoted into doing something else in a different city to be closer to family.
So, all these things play an important role in your happiness. That happiness quotient is really important in your life. It's important at work. It's important at home. It's important with friends, with family, with everything. And so as long as you are happy and satisfied in your job, stay there. If all the little checkers are right in the right squares and fitting into place, don't move. But if you're unhappy in those things and you're looking for something else, look inward at yourself and figure out why you're unhappy and then figure out how to make that change.
Yeah. I see people popping in and out of the live stream. So we are live, but I can't see it on my phone. So if you can see me, please tell me in the chat. But it keeps going up and down. So I know that we are live and this is happening right now in live time. I just can't see us on the camera. So hopefully we are sitting up straight and not touching our faces and doing the things that we are supposed to be doing.
What?
Yeah, you are notorious for that, Harding. All right.
I'm working really hard not to do it.
So now that we've talked about why people might want to pivot and change in their careers, let's talk about how we're going to do that. The first, you need to really sit with yourself and think real hard on what you're good at, what you like doing. What is it that you think you might want to do as a career? I guess some self-reflection.
And that's hard.
It's very hard. I mean, this is like when you go to make a career change, it's really difficult to do. I'll use myself. Like my last job in staffing, I lost my last job in staffing, and I was like, I don't think I really want to do staffing anymore. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I remember we were talking it through, and me and my wife, Stephanie, and she was like, well, Uber's big. I'm like, yeah, but I don't like to drive and I get lost really easy. I don't think that's a good career path for me.
I wouldn't put you in a car for anything.
I don't want to be in a car for anything. I mean, like it was just I mean, it'd been my whole career for 14 years. I didn't even know what I wanted to do, and just fell into doing something else. Um, if I think it's important, if you aren't really sure what you want to do in your career, ask your friends and family. Ask them what they think that you are good at, because if they are able to tell you, you might have some ideas or spark some ideas that would, might be helpful to you.
So when I'm working with someone who wants to change careers, I ask them to do 3 things. Write down 10 things that you really like doing, not work related, just 10 things. So if you like numbers, if you like movies, if you like hiking, whatever they are, 10 things. Then I ask them to do 10 companies they would like to work for. Don't look at the jobs, just 10 companies you would like to work for. So I'd like to work for Google. I'd like to work for AT&T. I'd like, whatever those words are, write them down. And third, think of 10 jobs other than what you're doing that you would like to be doing, that you feel that you could do. Doesn't mean you've ever done them or even thought much about them, but 10 things that you think you could enjoy. And then what we do is put all that together, 10 likes, 10 companies, 10 jobs, and start talking about what you could be doing other than what you're doing today. And this is a way, you can do this at home for yourselves too, to look at all these different things and say, oh, maybe I'd like to work at so-and-so company and become a this. Look up the job description, see if it fits, and you can move forward.
I think also, too, it's important to figure out the things we don't want to do.
Yes.
All right.
Equally as important as the things we do.
Because, we don't want to get into positions that aren't going to be fulfilling to us. We just talked about it's important to like, where you work and what you do. Right. That is an important thing.
Yeah, it's equally as important to know what you don't like. I mean, like Uber driver.
Like Uber driver. Can't do that.
That doesn't mean it's a bad job. It's a great job for a lot of people. Not Jason.
Not me. That's a good pivot into the next bit, which is you need to do your research. Look at the companies. So we have a list of ideas of companies where we think we might want to work. Then let's start researching the companies and seeing if it's something that is going to align with our values and goals. Like you might want to, and I'll use, let's use Cane Rosso as an example.
Tell people what it is.
So Cane Rosso is a wood-fired pizzeria here in Dallas.
Delicious.
And it's the best pizza place ever. And I'm not saying you want to work at pizza, but Cane Rosso also has a dog rescue. And so, so it might be that you want to work, because obviously the dog rescue is a nonprofit, it's not for profit, and somebody has to run that operation. So it's not necessarily you want to work making pizza, but maybe you want to work for the nonprofit side of this company, helping rescue dogs, and it falls in line with the things that you do.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just threw me for a loop on that one.
Didn't know that?
No, I had no idea. And other organizations support other things also. So, and I'm going to take AT&T because we're most related to that one right now. They wanted to get those people who are underserved or don't have the financial support for themselves to learn technology, to be able to learn technology. So they're opening up what are called connected learning centers, and they're having nonprofits work in them to help the community learn more about becoming digitally connected and to become connected in other ways. For example, the ESL classes that we're doing right now, it's to get people connected and able to become sufficient working in the community. And we're going to be starting a GED program because a lot of people need that support for GED. So there's all sorts of things that we're doing right now, or other organizations are doing right now. Cane Rosso, AT&T, Spectrum, the banks are supporting community work.
Yeah,
lots of different things.
Banks come in and do seminars for financial literacy. Yeah.
And so these are things when you're looking, let's say, I'm using nonprofit because it's the world we're in Jason and I are in right now. If you're looking for a nonprofit, look at what they're doing. And if you can align with that, that's the organization you want to look into. If you can't align with everything that they're doing, move on to the next one.
Yeah. And then the other part of that is you want to make sure that you are getting connected to people that work in that space.
Definitely.
Right? If you're going to, the only way you're going to be able to successfully pivot into doing something else is to get connected to people that are doing that job and then start talking to them. Ask them, what do you like most about being a career coach at Jewish Family Service? What do you don't like about it? What is it that, how did you get into the field, right? You start talking to enough people on how they got to where they are. Really what's happening is you're building yourself a map on how to get you into that position.
You really are. You may think that you like something, and then you start talking to someone who's doing it, and you think, oh, I don't want to do that. That sounds boring as heck.
That's okay too.
Yeah.
Right. That's okay too. I think I was talking to clients like we want to pivot into something and you're just not exactly sure what it is. It's okay to have 2 to 3 things kind of narrowed down. Like we can't be like 10 to 12. That's way too many. But if you've got like 2 or 3 things that you might want to do, great. Start talking to people that do that job and see if it's something that you actually do want to do.
Research it. Understand it. Know about it. What does the job entail? You might love the fact that there are dog rescue organizations, but when you realize what you might have to do to work there, you might change your mind. It's okay to do that because we want people to find new positions when they want where they're going to be happy for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Or at least 4.
Or at least 4.
Do you know the average time in a job is 2 to 3 years? It's considered good job history now?
Now, 10 years ago, it was like, oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, for sure 10 years ago, but I think like even...
Since COVID.
Yeah. People want to do different stuff. They want to do different things. So good job history today is considered 2 to 3 years.
And they want to be happy.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's really important.
The other thing too, as you're networking, go to meetups that are specific to that industry. And also, too, get into some Facebook groups that are doing that. It's a lot of the LinkedIn groups have just kind of died on the vine, but Facebook groups are thriving pretty well.
They have?
Yep.
The LinkedIn?
Mm-hmm. It'll swing back the other way. It always does. But I'm in like several of them, and I don't see any activity going on. It's like a lot of them are like my recruiter friends put me into the group, for leads and stuff. But I never see any notifications for them. I guess my recruiter friends that created them have abandoned the group. But I get push notifications all the time for the Facebook groups that I'm into, so I know that they're working.
Yeah.
A next thing to do to think about what you want to do to transition or pivot into a different career is, are you going to need some education and training?
Oh, yeah.
Anything additional? And then, how are you going to do that? You could take a Coursera course or edX or Udemy or any other place that has and offers those types of certifications.
Jason was just naming a lot of organizations who do digital training, online training, and you don't have to go into a classroom to learn those things anymore. You can do it online.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. In fact, we have Microsoft Office training, virtual, that Phil does here every week. And so you can learn Word, Excel, Advanced Excel, and PowerPoint. I think this week he's still in PowerPoint.
This week he's not doing anything.
Oh, he's not doing anything?
No, last week was PowerPoint.
No.
This week.
I'm not up to date on what Phil's doing.
Trying keeping everybody up to date is hard.
I'm lucky to get this thing going and off the ground. So can you take a certification or a class and learn that skill? Yes, you can. I had a client last year. She decided she wanted to be a business analyst. She was like a software engineer, complete pivot. And so what she did was she took a Coursera course on business analytics and then was pretty personable anyway. And so she would get into interview situations and start talking to people. I don't have any hands-on experience, but here's what I know, and spoke to what she knew and learned from taking this course. And I think it was her fourth or fifth interview. And somebody took a chance on her and said, you know what? I will not hire you to be a business analyst, but I will hire you to be a junior business analyst. And we do have a career track. And if you keep on it, in 8 months to a year, you can become a business analyst. And that was a couple of years ago, and she's still employed.
You know, these are things, we love success stories. And so we're telling you about them. And when you work with a professional, sometimes they can help guide you or guide your resume or guide your LinkedIn to get you where you want to go. And so if you want to talk to any one of us to decide if you'd like to work with us for coaching, the telephone number is 972-437-9950, extension 379. Leave a message. We'll get back to you within 24 hours.
That's right.
I took it right out of his mouth.
You did.
He didn't know what to do.
I was like, she's not doing the announcer voice. That's in my head. I'm like, oh, she's not doing the announcer voice. Give us a call today at 972-437-9950, extension 379.
He had to do it.
That's the announcer voice. All right. Here's another way that you can pivot into different careers is get experience. You know, how am I going to get experience? Go to volunteer at a organization that is looking for that specific thing. I've got a client right now that's exactly what she did. She is pivoting from a health and wellness career and into a content creation career, has done it not for 3 different nonprofits, right? You put that on the resume, guess what? You're now a content creator. That's what you do now. And the same thing. I had like a couple of years ago, I had a client who she wanted to do interior design. And we started talking. She was, well, I did it for my friend. I was like, okay, great. That was cool. Yeah. And then she had a friend that I didn't know, and I did that for her. And I'm like, guess what? You're an interior designer now. You've got 2 people that you can point to that said you've done this for them. This is your career now. Just gain experience doing it. That's it. You talked a minute ago, Allison, about your resume and your LinkedIn, right? If we're going to change and pivot into doing something else, it's important that the brand is consistent and in line with whatever career we're trying to pivot into. You need to focus on creating content based around how you solve problems in that space or why you are the expert in the field. It's the thing that will make the difference. You go rewrite your about section and focus on, hey, these are the things that I am good at and can do. And you set yourself up as you haven't done it yet or are there yet, but you do set yourself up as the person that can do that job.
So I think what's important is that you want other people to believe in you as much as you need to believe in you. And to be able to do that, you have to project your profile for the job that you want to be entering into.
Yes.
And if your profile says it, but your resume doesn't, then as a recruiter, I look at that and say, that person doesn't know what they want yet. And I move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So the resume that you have on your LinkedIn, in the profile that you have on LinkedIn, and the content that you start writing about on LinkedIn all have to relate. And if you can do that, as a recruiter, I look at that and say, oh, look at the profile. Oh, look, they have articles about it. Oh, look, even their resume is close to what they're talking about. Yeah, I think I might want to talk to this person.
Yeah, that's what we had a client that's talking about content creation, and we were working on a resume yesterday, and it's like, okay, so your core competencies at the very top, and when your experience starts, it's going to be content creator, and we're going to just list those out. It's everything, we call that above the fold. So back in the day, guys, there were these things called newspapers, and the newspaper was set like this. So everything that was above the fold is the thing that you want for people to know the most about. And so we have it set up now. All of that is above the fold, and all the rest of her health and wellness stuff follows.
So an important thing, and we got into this, and this talking about your LinkedIn and your resume and everything. When you decide you don't like what you're doing anymore, you can't just say to people, I want another job. I don't care what it is.
That's not true.
That another job is not a career. So you have to know what it is so you can market yourself into that new position. But when you say, I hate what I'm doing, I'll do anything else. I don't. And people come in here all the time, or they just say, I just need a job, anything other than what I'm doing today. Like what? I don't care. Well, you do care.
Yeah, you do care.
You have to care.
When I was working for the state as a job coach, I had people come and they're like, I just need a job. I'll do anything. I said, really? You know what? Let me call my contact at Mary Maids. They're always hiring. Oh, I don't know to do that. So you don't want any job.
Yeah, you really have to know what's going to make you happy and something that you can be good at and something that you can enjoy doing.
Yeah. I think it's important to practice and prepare for your interview, especially when you don't have or a lot of or maybe none experience because you're going to try to pivot into something. By this time, you should have already talked to some people and had an idea that this is what you want to do and this is how you're going to get yourself into this position. And then, just like my client, speak to the things that she learned in her Coursera course and stay with just what you know, and you're going to come out on top. You can get on the internet and look for questions specific to that topic, or go have AI and write out list interview questions for a content creator. Boom! It will give you 10 to 20 instantly. Go practice answering those types of questions. Again, you're trying to show how you're the expert in the field. You can't show up to the interview and be like, I don't know.
Right. And it's funny you talk about interview. I'm working with someone who's changing careers out of education into something else. And we did a mock interview yesterday, and he's really, really good. He's got the concept. Only he was trying to use too many of the keywords to fit in. It was almost like it was textbook. And in your interview, especially if you're changing careers, you have to be a little bit flexible in showing how your past experience can benefit your future job. Don't vomit what's on your resume. I know what's on your resume. That's why we called you in. That's why we're talking to you. We have it right here. Take that information from your resume, especially, again, if you're transitioning to a new job or, you've got this interview, which you may have a great opportunity. Understand what you did in the past that can help you get this job and benefit the organization for the future.
Right. I think that practices makes all the difference. And if you guys didn't know, I do have a practice interview program. We do it the second and fourth week of each month. The next one is actually next Tuesday. I have a whole team of hiring professionals that are volunteering their time to help you better your skills in interviewing. If it's something you are interested in doing, email me at the letter J Hopper HOPPER at jfsdallas.org. Put practice interview in the subject line and tell me what time. They are all virtual, so you can participate anywhere in the world. I have a 1 o'clock spot and two 2 o'clock spots left. That's it. It's almost full up. So, and that's Central Time. So let me know. They go fast.
They do. And sometimes you may have to do those mock interviews more than once. I have a client who did, I think she did two different people interviewing her who gave her really good comments, but they looked at her differently and her information, and it worked out beautifully, and she started her job last Monday.
I know, I got to tell the team that.
Yes.
Haven't met with them yet. The other thing is, when you're pivoting into a different position, you need to make certain that you understand that it's something that could take time. It's not going to happen overnight. You've got to put in the work. You've got to grow your network. You've got to practice. I mean, all the things that we talked about. There's a huge bit of risk involved, a lot of risk involved in pivoting into a career because you haven't done it. And you're not sure that you are going to enjoy it to begin with. It's just something you think that you might enjoy. So realize that it is going to take time. And make sure that you have a goal in mind, an end goal in mind, so that, you're able to get to there and achieve that.
Yeah, Phil has a client that he started working with, I think, June or July, and she just started working last week.
Okay.
And she was, again, pivoting, changing positions, changing jobs, changing everything, a completely different role, but it took that much time she had to take some classes, change up her resume, her LinkedIn, everything, and got a great job.
Yeah.
We're really excited.
So you can pivot, but you have
definitely.
to put in all the steps and the work to do it. And give yourself some grace, because first off, job search itself is hard. And I tell people all the time, if job search was easy, everybody that wanted a job would have one. Yeah. It's a hard process, and it's even harder if you're going to pivot into doing something else. That's why it's important to make sure that you understand that it's going to take time. You have to put the steps in, and also too, you've got to give yourself some grace.
You do, and you're probably not going to get the first job you interview for.
You won't,
or apply for. Once in a million, maybe, but don't worry about it. It just means that they were looking for some other skills that you didn't have. So pull yourself up by your bootstraps and keep on going.
Yeah, that's the last part, is make yourself an action plan and, start the process. Yeah. It's never too late to start the process and or change your career.
But also in this process, especially changing careers, do things that you enjoy doing. If you enjoy walking or running or going to movies or whatever, do some of that, because you need that positive energy to be able to continue in a process like this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, self-care is so important.
Oh, it is so
and
important.
I think once we prioritize our happiness and our mental health over just the grind and, I've got the title and the money and you end up being a lot happier individual, right? I mean, and again, we talked at the beginning, it's important that you like what you do.
Very important.
So, Allison, we are at time. So I have an interesting, fun question.
Uh-oh.
I was listening to the radio the other day, and they were talking about the percentages of people that think in a hand-to-hand combat situation what animals they can defeat. So if you were in a fight without any weapons against a mid-sized dog, who would win?
That's a really strange question.
The look on your face, you're like, get out of here, Hopper. I know, it's like, but this was like a whole segment on the radio. I had to go pick up Tony last week, and and while I was waiting for him in the car, that was what they were talking about on the radio.
It was not on NPR, I bet.
It was not on NPR. No,
I have no idea.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna win against the mid-sized
I would hope
dog.
I would win, but I don't. What's mid-size mean?
Well, like a dog that's about 80 pounds.
That's a strong dog.
There are bigger dogs.
Well, there's smaller ones too.
I could beat a smaller dog too. Just pick that thing up and move it up. Mid-sized dog. You know why I'm going to win? I have opposable thumbs. The dog doesn't. So I can do things. If the dog's coming at me, he might bite me, but I can, get out of it. Okay, Allison's not.
I'm just not in.
Allison's like, I'm not even going to. Yeah. All right. So next week, you know what we're talking about next week?
No.
How to get unstuck in your job search. Because oftentimes we start the process and for some reason we get stuck. We're going to talk about one, why you get stuck, and then two, how you going to get unstuck in your job search and be productive. So that's going to be next week. In the meantime, guys, have a great week. Don't go fighting any dogs. And we We'll see you
Don't.
next week for
If you
Caffeinate
see
Your
her,
Career.
don't come in turn.